Okay, so real quick, what you're looking at here is like 4 pieces of filet mignon, which is basically steak that is like 1.5 to 2 inches thick, wrapped in bacon. So you can look at this and see it's about 1.5 inches thick by about 2.5 inches wide. And there's a comparison because there's a knife right beside it. So you can see the meat has been washed, and I've got it sitting on a cutting board at the moment. So that's the first thing you want to do is wash your meat and get it ready. So I've got your meat washed and ready. You're getting a pan, skillet. That one's probably about 3 inches thick. That's what I'm using to cook this with. And you're going to want to get some oil, either your sunflower oil or vegetable oil. I prefer olive oil. So I'm going to get about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And now, so I've got the oil in the pan. I'm going to turn it on a high heat, just right like that. Gas stove, so yeah, high heat. Now over here, what I've gone and done is I've gone ahead and chopped, well, I've actually moved the meat over to another little thing to hold it. And I have chopped up, this is bell pepper, white onion, garlic, and celery. And we're going to take all those ingredients and put them, okay, so now we got this going in the pan. You're just going to kind of mix it up. Get some of that oil all over the vegetables. Put it on a high heat. And you're just going to kind of let that simmer, well, not simmer, but cook. As you can hear it start to do that. So then what we're going to do next, move back over here to the meat. And now we've lightly salted and peppered both sides of the meat. And we're going to continue to wait for the vegetables to get cooked a little bit. You want them to start getting soft and a little bit brown around the edges. Not too brown, but a little bit. So basically you're going to want to let that cook for about 2 to 3 minutes and keep constantly, checking on it, stirring it to make sure it's 2 minutes right. Now. As you can see, the garlic and some of the onions are starting to brown on the edges. And you want that to cook a little bit more. So just keep kind of spreading it out a little bit and then let it go a little bit longer, maybe like 30 seconds to a minute. Alright, so it looks like they've browned pretty good. See what I mean? Just like around the edges, nothing dramatic or anything. You don't want it burnt, but you want it to kind of just start to look like that. So we're going to spread it out a little bit. Get your little empty space in the pan. And then take your steak. Oops. Hold on. Put it on the skillet. Kind of push the vegetables off to the side. Pour all 4 of them in the pan. And these have bacon on it, so it's going to have a little bit more like natural grease with them. You want to kind of let that cook for a short time, maybe a minute to 2 minutes, because what we're doing is we're browning this side of the meat. So the vegetables are, you can kind of move them around a little bit more if you want. But let that brown for 2 minutes. Alright, so it's actually been about 3 minutes. And now I'm going to flip each piece of meat. Now you see what I mean when I'm talking about browning? That shadow cast there, but see how it's kind of browning right here on the edges? That's what you want. And now we flipped it, and we're going to let the other side brown as well. So, you know, this would be a good time to probably add maybe a little bit more salt and pepper on the top of the steak, if you wanted to. Okay, I ran out of space on my camera, so I had to switch cameras. I don't know if you can see this good or not, but I let that cook for about 3 or 4 minutes so it's gotten browner. Probably not a good quality camera. Anyway, what this is right here is Worcestershire sauce. I know you probably don't have any, or you may have some. So what you want to do is take a little bit of that, just kind of sprinkle it over your steak. You don't want a whole bunch. You know, even maybe about 2 teaspoons worth of total product. I just turned my heat up to switch cameras. Anyway, so you can use that or any kind of a steak sauce or something just to give it a little extra flavor. Okay, so that's what you do. Every 30 to 40 minutes or so, come back, check your meat. You might want to flip it over a couple times. Check the water levels, make sure that they're at a good level. You don't want them, you know, real high, but you don't want to get them too low in the pan to where it starts scorching. And then we'll go to the next step after that. Okay, I can't remember if I mentioned before that you want to make sure that you cover your pan, so, you know, with a pot. And this has been 4 hours worth of cooking so far. As you can tell, the meat is reduced in size, so it's shriveled up a little bit. And you can stick your utensil in it. See how tender that is? I mean, it is just about to fall apart. It is so tender right now. So this is done. And that was right at 4 hours. So what you're going to do now is you're going to take the meat out of this juice. This juice is making an awesome gravy. Alright, now we're making the broth. What you're going to do is you're going to get about a half a cup of, not a half cup, about a fourth a cup of white flour. You're going to put it in a bowl or something like this that you can mix it in, and get you some water and pour that. It has to be cold water, make sure it's cold, in with the flour. Get you a whisk and whisk this together. Mix it to where there's no lumps. Make sure it's cold water. If you use hot, there will be lumps. So mix that real good together. Put your pan. You're going to turn your heat on high. You've got your water flour mixture. You're going to pour that in so it changes a different color, because it's going to make a really good broth. Stir that. And you're going to stir this for probably, actually I've got a couple lumps in there, didn't mix it very well. Anyway, so you want to stir that for about 2 to 5 minutes until it begins to boil really good, and it will start to thicken. Okay, so you cooked it. You got it real good thick. See the good little consistency you've got? Good color. And you have a lot of options right now. You can either take the meat and that, broth, gravy, whatever you want to call it, put it over rice, put it over noodles, set it on the side of vegetables. I decided to use mashed potatoes. So mashed potatoes and one of those steaks kind of chopped to the side with gravy. And that's it. So enjoy!